everyone, and welcome back to the Leadership with a Twist podcast. I'm your host, Heather McGonigal, and I'm here with my co host, Barbara Schindler. We are coaches and co founders of empowering leadership teams. And today, the twist that we're going to talk about is your self care, because it now more than ever, it's really, really important. Right? Welcome, Barbara. Thank you for being
Mhm.
here for me today.
Thanks.
With
And
this
this is a
topic.
great topic for our current times. And, we talk a lot lately about being a whole person and how you can show up. And so this piece that you're going to be leading our conversation today, Heather, is very pertinent, and I'm excited to get started here.
Yeah, I think, when we think about entrepreneurial business, I think what I always find myself reminding everybody, I think in entrepreneurial businesses, by their very nature, we're always trying to do as much as we can with not enough resources. And one of the most limited resources there is the human element. Just by the very nature that we are human beings, we are limited resources. There is only so many hours in the day. And I know entrepreneurial business leaders and their teams pride themselves on how hard they can work, what they can accomplish. But the truth is, you are a human being, which means you need to take good care of you so that you can do your best thinking, your best collaborating, and your best problem solving. And so that got me thinking when Barbara and I were talking about what to share today. And I remembered this self care action plan that I developed as part of our year-long leadership training program with the leaders in that program. Because what I saw was that these team members in entrepreneurial teams were just burning out, and they really needed to remember and have different ways to stop, pause, and take care of themselves on a regular basis in the midst of the busyness. Because, as Barbara likes to remind all of us, we are whole people at work. We are not machines, and we are whole people.
Right. And you mentioned burnout, right? And so one of the things we're focusing on here with this action plan is not overriding one, that you're a whole person and that you're a person at all, right? Like we eat, we sleep, we need certain balance. And oftentimes in busy times, or in some online companies, it might be launch time, or there's a special project that you're leading. Whatever that is, there can be a tendency to override the fact that you're hungry, override that you're feeling sleepy, and maybe you're dehydrated. All of those things like go out the window when you start putting this off balance. It's not a right or wrong. It's just that we need to keep that self-care and self-awareness of the state that you're in balanced with your doing, what you're doing, how you're doing it, and keeping your best thinking and your best presence. So how you show up in it is so important. So uh, this is that piece of that needs to run parallel while you're busy doing the things that you're passionate about or have to get done, or however it's landing. But there's a parallel journey there that you have to keep checking in with. And Heather, I love where you're going with this, because I know it's the proactive approach to it.
Yes. So, what I developed by recognizing that leaders I worked with needed this additional support was this idea of a self care action plan. What I saw was that leaders needed to think in advance before the launch, before the extra busy time.
Right.
They needed to have a plan in place for how they were going to take care of themselves in the midst of the busy time. And I thought that this time of year, we've come back from the holidays. Hopefully, You did get a little break, you did get a little restoration. Now you're jumping back into your company, you're catching up in your busy inbox. This might be an extra busy time for your company, and it's an important time for you now to, like, maybe you came back a little restored. You want to keep some of those reserves for yourself, and you want to build good habits. Right in the beginning of the new year, a lot of us have New Year's resolutions going, and we're aware of building good habits. So this is a good time to introduce to you this concept of what is your self-care action plan. And so I want to share with you, you want to be thinking, and I have a little image here, so I'm going to share on the screen. You want to have in your action plan a variety of things for when you have your just a little bit of time, a quick refresh, when your battery is running low and you have a little bit more time to take care of yourself, when you're in the danger zone, your battery is extra low and you need to charge up more, and when you're super depleted, what's on your action plan for that. So I'd like you to think about these different ways that stress hits you and what really replenishes you. Think about these different categories. What I'm showing and will attach along with this video a way for you to grab this document, because it kind of walks you through this exercise. You want to think in advance for, okay, how depleted am I? What kind of activities restore me when I'm feeling this way? And also think of a day in the life of you in your role. I only have 5 minutes. I have 30 minutes. I have my lunch break. Think of different activities that fit those different times that you may have available, and come up with things for your self-care action plan that fit that. Now, Barbara, you have a great example of a quick refresh that you do. Can you share that with us?
It takes about 5 minutes to
Yes.
make my chai tea latte in my Supermom cup. So that is something, because it's, it's a little bit of, there's some steps to focus on to make the cup of tea. I steam milk, I get the tea bag, I put some honey in there, all of that. And that changes my state for a moment, but it takes me 5 minutes. And then it actually is something that I really enjoy. A cup of warm tea for me is nurturing. It reminds me to take a breath and be in the moment. So it kind of has a twofold piece. Yeah, I was thinking, Heather, as you're talking about this, I was coaching someone this morning, and we were talking about that. Right before going into a meeting, he would get an email that caught his attention, like, "Oh no, yeah,
Distraction that I don't have time for and pulls
yes." And
focus.
we were talking about his level of, oh, I need to resolve things. I like to keep things moving. It's kind of that thing. But that what you're talking about, I wonder where this falls into that place. It's like, okay, so he needs a reset because now he's triggered. We were talking about the amygdala, the emotions. Oop, oh no. And he needs to go and be present at that meeting. And he often finds he's distracted. It's just spinning in his head. So where in that self-care thing can he be prepared to, what's that thing he can do in that few minutes to reset himself, to get his good thinking and be able to focus on the meeting, set that emotional charge aside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it might be that you silence notifications before meetings, or you make an agreement with yourself, like, no, I'm not looking at messages until this time or that time.
We'll do
And
it up to 15 minutes before a meeting,
yeah,
right?
and you
I
keep
like
you,
that.
but you have
Yeah,
to build those habits and then keep those habits. And the truth is you can't unsee a message, right?
totally
And
not.
you do get activated. So then, but how do you build those habits that that's okay that that message came in, I'm not dealing with that right now. And you build that habit where you're able to pause and shift. And maybe if you have that habit of, maybe you build your chai tea latte routine on your way to the meeting, and that
Yes,
allows you to shift. No, I'm in
the
going to
trigger.
meeting mode. I get my chai tea latte. I go sit down in my chair at the meeting. I'm in this mode that shifts my energy, right? So you can construct your self care action plan and some things that you do in order to set yourself
Yeah,
up to have some healthy pauses in your day. Because
I
one of
love
the
that.
things that happens too, and that this can happen in working in person or remote culture, but with all of technology, I think we've sort of painted ourselves into a corner where we have this expectation of back to back to back to back to back in our workday. And that's not actually good for our nervous system. And we can't actually really function really well that way. Oh, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and now I'm going to do this thing. Like your brain, your processing needs time to shift from this and then go to this
Yeah.
and then go to this to really be functioning well. So you can put things on your quick refresh zone. Notice things that help me shift gears. Fill out that column of quick refresh on your self care action plan. Things that I like to do that give me mini pauses in my day to shift gears. And then you have the next column on the plan is the running low. Those can be things that give me maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes that I go take that little extra time for myself. Now, that could also be maybe a task in your role that, hey, when I go just check my inbox, that's a task that's not draining for me. And I kind of catch up, and that's something I do that allows me to reset. Now, that would be different if I was in customer service. I wouldn't feel that way about my inbox, but in my role as program director, I might feel that way, right? So notice the things, what can you build about your plan? And at different times, it may be different. I've coached people that are inside of launching companies, and we have a different plan for when they're in a launch, right? When they're
Right.
about to be in that super busy time and they're launching, they might need to put protein bars on their desk, and it can't even be across the room. It's like, no, I'm going into launching zone. I've got to have my protein bars on my desk, my favorite snacks, a water bottle with water. Not that I'm not going to take physical breaks away from the desk to take care of my body, but I just know myself. I get so in the zone that it'll be really good if my favorite
Hmm.
protein bar is right there, because that's going to be a really, really good way to take care of myself, right? So
Right.
Barbara and I are not endorsing no breaks. We're endorsing how do you best take the very best care of yourself given what you know and what you have learned, and how you navigate the realities of your role, and have great respect for your own system, your own thinking process, and your own well being, because you are a whole person at work and nobody else is coming to save you. It has to be you that takes care of you and advocates for you and thinks of these things in advance. So, I hope you find the self care action plan helpful, useful. If you have questions, I'd love to support you. If you're trying to implement it or work with it and you're struggling in any way, reach out. There's a link below this video where you can schedule yourself for a free consultation call with me, and I'm happy to get on a call and help you apply it to yourself and give you some support. Yeah, so reach out.
Yeah.
Anything you want
It's a
to add,
perfect time.
Barbara? Did I
I was
miss
just gonna
anything?
say, no, it's just a good time to reset the seasons, shifting, the year shifting. Um, a lot of time projects are shifting in people's work, or they've just had their evaluations, things that what I like most about what you're talking about, Heather, is the proactivity of it. And so I do invite everybody to take one takeaway or gem from our conversation today, and do reach out to Heather, and get something working for yourself here.
All right. Well, thank you very much for being here with me, Barbara. And
Mhm.
whether it's a chai tea latte or you have a different favorite restorative warm beverage or cold coffee beverage of your choice, feel free to steal Barbara's for the first thing on your self-care action plan and set yourself up for a really good self-care in 2026. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in for Leadership with a Twist, and we'll see you in the next episode.